Hello, my name is Lauren Strotter, and this is a podcast of a brief summary of Dr. Bettina Love's book, We Want to Do More Than Survive. Let's get started. We Want to Do More Than Survive was published by Beacon Press in Boston, Massachusetts in 2019. The book has about 162 pages of text with 30 pages of notes that include an index. It costs about $17 or $18 on Amazon.com. Dr. Love grew up in inner city Rochester, New York, and attended subpar schools that did not prepare her academically for college. She earned a degree in education, but her training prepared her to teach students at a surface level and to perpetuate dark suffering in America. After a short time teaching, Dr. Love sought and earned a PhD in education with the goal of improving teacher preparation programs. Dr. Bettina Love is now an award-winning author and associate professor of education theory and practice at the University of Georgia. Dr. Love's research focuses on ways in which urban youth form social, cultural, and political identities to create new and sustaining ways of thinking about urban education and intersectional social justice. Dr. Love's work is also concerned with how teachers and schools work with parents and communities can build communal, civically engaged schools rooted in intersectional social justice for the goal of equitable classrooms. Mandy Manning, 2018 National Teacher of the Year, said, "This book is exactly what we need, a powerful indictment of our educational system as an industry that robs dark children of their potential." Dr. Love challenges us to become abolitionists by holding ourselves and our colleagues accountable for our complicity in perpetuating the educational survival complex. Ms. Manning believes, and I agree, every educator needs to read this book in order to learn how to freedom dream and to recognize and challenge oppression within our schools and our school system. We Want to Do More Than Survive is a comprehensive argument for abolitionist teaching in American schools, teaching that advocates for educational justice for dark children in our schools. Chapter 1, We Who Are Dark, pages 1 through 15. So what is mattering? According to Dr. Love, mattering is a constant struggle for freedom through the practice of abolitionist teaching rooted in the internal desire we all have for freedom, joy, and restorative justice by refusing all forms of injustice and the disposability of dark children. Section 2, Welcome Struggle. For those of us who are dark, our lives are committed to a constant struggle to mattering in America in every significant way of life and living. Dr. Love shares that freedom is a practice rather than a possession or a state of being. To want freedom is to welcome struggle. Section 3, Reform Ain't Justice. Dr. Love talks about how adopting and practicing abolitionist teaching beliefs is a way to create educational justice for students and the future of America. Consciously choosing to refuse oppression and refuse to oppress others, specifically students, is at the heart of abolitionist teaching for humanity and justice. Section 5. Do we really love all children? Dr. Love believes that if we love all children, then we must demand pedagogy that helps educators understand and recognize America and its schools as spaces of whiteness, white rage, and white supremacy, and traditionally places designed to terrorize marginalized students. Chapter 2, Educational Survival, pages 16 through 41. White rage. White rage is an anger white folks exhibit in response to black advancement for mattering. The trigger of white rage is not the mere presence of black people, rather it is blackness with ambition, with drive, with purpose, with aspirations, and with the demand for full and equal citizenship. Section 2, Educational Survival Complex. Educational survival complex is the educational reform models created to mitigate the suffering of marginalized groups of students and uphold whiteness. The latest iteration of the educational survival complex is the charter school movement. Section 3, Spirit Murdering. Racism is more than just physical pain. Racism robs dark people of their humanity, their dignity, personal identity. Racism leaves dark people with psychological and spiritual injuries. Racism literally murders your spirit. Racism is traumatic because it is a loss of protection, safety, nutrients, and acceptance, all the things children need to be educated. 4. Life. Dr. Love states that dark people in America are disposable inside and outside of the classroom, and we must change the field and context in which children are being taught. Education is not the antecedent of failing schools, poverty, homelessness, police brutality, and crimes. Racism is. Therefore, we need pedagogy that supports social movement while avoiding disempowering teachers and creating stressful work environments. Chapter 3, Mattering. In Chapter 3, Dr. Love reaches back into her childhood and shares her experiences of how she came to matter in this world. She referenced people such as her mother, Mrs. Johnson, and Mr. Boone. Dr. Love goes beyond speaking about individuals and how they impacted her understanding of mattering. She goes on and talks about the community and how it contributed to her sense of mattering in this world. Chapter 4, Grit, Zest, and Racism, The Hunger Games, pages 69 through 87. In Chapter 4, Dr. Love warns us of how prepackaged programs are sold to educators and parents of dark children as remedies for problems of dark children. She warns us of how these prepackaged programs would not have helped Trayvon Martin. Dr. Love expresses how the concept of expecting dark children to improve their own futures by their own effort is not new. It is a repeated strategy that blames marginalized students for the racist barriers preventing their movement towards thriving. Chapter 5, Abolitionist Teaching, Freedom Dreaming, and Black Joy, pages 88 through 123. In Chapter 5, Dr. Love shares with us what is exactly abolitionist teaching. Abolitionist teaching is not a teaching approach. It is a way of life. It is a way of seeing the world and a way of taking action against injustice. It seeks to resist, agitate, and tear down the educational survival complex in classrooms and schools for students in the present day while freedom dreaming of tomorrow. The work of abolitionist teaching moves beyond gimmicks and quick fixes to examine the root cause of the educational survival complex. It teaches from a place of love and sharp criticism of anti-darkness everywhere and activism. Chapter 6, Theory over Gimmicks, Finding Your North Star, pages 124 through 148. Theory is a North Star that provides direction in the midst of doing the work of abolitionist teaching. Theory does not solve issues, but theory gives you the language to fight, the knowledge to stand on, and the humble reality of what intersectional social justice is up against. In Chapter 6, Dr. Love also begins to unpack how LGBTQ people are marginalized in this country and advocates for queer studies as a lens for liberation, freedom, and abolitionism. Dr. Love ends Chapter 6 by sharing what she has learned. The struggle for educational freedom does not somehow vanish when you apply theory, but your barriers are no longer hidden in plain sight. Now you have the language, the understanding, and hopefully co-conspirators not only to fight, but also to demand what is needed for dark children to thrive. Theory explains what we see, and it can take the whiteness glasses off of our eyes. Chapter 7, We Gonna Be All Right, but That Ain't All Right. In Chapter 7, Dr. Love warns us of how hard it is to be an abolitionist. She tells us we must be well. Wellness is wisdom, and being well is hard work. As abolitionists, we must be well. We cannot settle for just being all right. Wellness is a part of social justice work. There must be an inner life that refuses to be treated less than human. She goes on to talk about the concept of white wellness. White wellness requires white folks practicing abolitionist teaching to put something on the line in the name of justice. White abolitionists must genuinely want dark folks to thrive and must be willing to give up power and position in order for dark folks to do so. My analysis of this work starts with the strengths. The strengths of this text is how well organized the arguments for abolitionist teaching is supported with concrete and easy to connect to examples. Point after point was raised and directly associated to well-documented events in American history that allows readers to remember and apply their own personal understanding of. The weaknesses of this text, rather, the point that I am still wrestling with, is Dr. Love's denouncing of high-stakes tests. Dr. Love uses standardized testing as an example of how dark children are spirit murdered. I believe tests are necessary to ensure our students are learning important skills and concepts. The problem is not the test, but how we use the test and the test results that cause dark children to suffer. Recommendations. We Want to Do More Than Survive is a book written for every educator and educational decision maker in America. The text provides many points of entry and places to connect with the work necessary to improve and reinvent our schools to meet the needs of our most marginalized students. This book has been written for people who are ready to do the work of abolitionist teaching and provides many ideas of how to do that work. Before truly benefiting from this book, people must do the work of reconciling their own identity and how race and racism has impacted them. Once again, this is Lauren Strotter, and I hope you enjoyed this brief book review of Dr. Bettina Love's book, We Want to Do More Than Survive. Have a great day.